Hey, I'm Simona Costantini, and I'm obsessed with helping you heal, connect to your purpose, and teaching you about all things mindset. I realized I deserved and wanted more from this crazy little thing called life, so I changed my beliefs, healed my hurt, and made it my mission to help you do the same. I'm a recovering people pleaser turned life coach and podcast producer. I teach busy business owners how to fall in love with their life and business and live it on their terms. On this show, you get everything raw and real, from inspirational guest interviews to deep dives into topics like life, relationships, business, purpose, growth, and mindset. I lay it all on the line every time. Think of this as your one-stop shop to help you live a more purposeful and inspired life. This is the Happiness Happens podcast. Are you ready to hear this inspiring conversation? Let's dive on in. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode on the Happiness Happens podcast. I'm very excited to bring you this episode this week with our guest. Her name is Jess. She is such an incredible energy of light, and the conversation is going to be so epic. Before we dive into our conversation, I want to let you know that the waitlist for my new membership program is now open. The Happiness Happens Today membership is for service-based entrepreneurs looking to take their life and business to the next level. Truly the only one of its kind, you will learn how to connect deeply to yourself to transform fear, self-doubt, and imposter syndrome into self-confidence and self-empowerment, so you can show up as the CEO of your business, serve your clients fully, and scale your income. You will get all of the tools and support you need to develop and keep a resilient mindset. And you'll learn how to run your business from a place that's aligned, in flow, and on purpose. By joining this membership, you will learn how to create more time and freedom to do what you love by setting aligned goals, planning ahead, and managing your time so that you can make the impact that you want to. And you'll learn how to set boundaries and accountability around your business, your clients, and your life so that you can leave the legacy that you're meant to. It's time to own your limiting beliefs so that you can become the confident, badass business owner who steps into their authentic self fully and without fear. There's also a special bonus for those who are on the waitlist, which is a free 1-hour coaching call with me and 1 week of Voxer support when you sign up for a 3, 6, or 12-month commitment. There are 4 different levels to the membership, and this offer is good for all 4 of them, but only when you're on the waitlist. So if you want to get on the waitlist, click the link in the show notes to join the waitlist now, or you can send me an email directly and I will add you to the list. I'm so looking forward to seeing you on the waitlist and for you to be part of this incredible, incredible membership. Now let's move on to our episode for today. So today we have Jess, aka Greater Dater, and she's a dating coach and professional wingwoman / hypeman out of Los Angeles. Her mission? To bring the realness and human connection back to online dating. With close to a decade of experience in the LA dating scene, Jess is teaching daters all over the place how to show up as they are, start attracting people they actually want to meet, and wait for it, enjoy it. Finding love shouldn't be something that you hate. And I thought it would be such an incredible conversation to have, especially with Valentine's Day literally right around the corner. So let's dive into this conversation with Jess. Hello, Jess. Welcome to the show.
I am so excited. I am such a big fan. Thank you for having me. Honored.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm equally a big fan and I'm very excited to chat with you. We are just going to have the best conversation today. I would love to know a little bit about you and your journey that sort of brought you to where you are today, just to kick us off.
I love that. So I'll keep it kind of brief. But I've been in Los Angeles for the past decade, so on and off in relationships. But to be honest, I started off just dating on dating apps right when Tinder came out. And Yeah, I started doing it like you would expect everyone to do it. Wait, before, for context, are you on dating apps, or have you ever been on dating apps? I know you have a
No,
fiance, but
no,
you've
we've
never
been
been on dating
together
apps.
for like 7 years. Like dating apps weren't even a
Okay,
thing.
7 years.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
like I don't, so when I hang out with my friends who are dating, I'm like, can you just um pass like the Bumble?
The
Can you
Bumble?
the Bumble? Can you pass it over? And so I can swipe. And they're like, hold on, there's like limited amounts of swipes. Like you have to be strategic. And I'm like, I don't understand. I just want to like say yes or no.
Oh, I totally get that. But no, I always like to ask, just for context, because otherwise some people are like, I get halfway through the interview and they're like, excuse me. I don't know what that is.
I actually don't know what you're talking about. But thanks though.
No, I love that. But so yeah, you show up on the Bumble, you show up on the Tinder
I'm done.
in a certain way. You're like, you choose the hot photos. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna just put this like ambiguous bio. I think mine at the time was, I'm new here, ... because I just had moved to Los Angeles. So it said 0 things about me. Okay. So
Leaves a
then
lot up to interpretation.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like the ellipses, like that. That's kind of a gamble, but so it didn't say anything about me. It appealed to the surface level side. Of course, it worked. Like, it's Los Angeles, so I was getting matches. I booked myself out for like 2 weeks of dates, and I was like, yes, this is so great. I'm doing this, and then yeah, week 2 rolled around, and I remember the definitive moment walking through my living room door, plopping on the couch, and being like, that is it. Like, this date was just another date. I am so not enjoying this. I am so not meeting people that aligned like with what I was looking for. I wasn't being the type of person I was looking for. I was like, I'm retired. I'm taking a knee. I am done. And I put my phone down. And then like 5 minutes later, I was reaching for my phone to like go back on Tinder.
Totally.
Yeah, right? And so I was like, there's no way around it. Like, this is how people are dating.
Hmm.
And so what can I do to help adjust this to make it fit my life instead of, showing up in a way that's just not working?
100%.
So I made a list of all the things I hated about it. And I was looking at it, and it was, showing up or dropping off on conversations halfway. It was not like being engaging in conversations. It was all of these things that I was doing to other people and that I could also control. And so I was like, okay, what could I do if I just flipped this whole experience? What if I, started showing up in my realness? Because honestly, the hot photos, like, you look like that maybe 0.01% of the time. I don't know about you, but
And nobody looks like that in pandemic. I mean,
well, especially in a pandemic. But yeah, so I just developed over the years a way of dating that was so authentic. Like, you can show up real. You don't have to change who you are, how you look, or what you're looking for in order to start attracting the type of person that you actually want to meet.
I love that. It's so true that you can be authentically you. I love
Oh,
that.
yeah, while you date. And then it even works in your favor because you're no longer looking, you're attracting. You're putting yourself in a position of like, this is who I am. And then you don't have that fog of like saying yes to everybody. You don't have that fog of being like, oh, do they like me? You have this gauge, you have this, you know what you're looking for.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. It's so true. You're being intentional with your time. You're being intentional with who you're looking for.
Very. And it's like you're finding love. It should not be something that you hate to do. It should not be a chore.
I completely agree. I have so many friends who are on Tinder apps, like whatever, and they hate it. Like they hate it. They talk to these people for like 2 days and then the people disappear. And like we can go into ghosting and all of that later, but it's like, it must just be so like frustrating. I honestly thank my lucky stars every day that I like don't have to participate in how stressful it is. Like it's a shot to your confidence, your ego. Like when people disappear, you're like, okay, was it me? Was it you? I don't know.
Yes, yes. And so that is how this all started. And I was just like, oh, I cannot do this. And I kind of term myself as an anthropological dater. Like I'm experiential. I don't coach anything that I don't do myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, I play around with it that way. But it started off from this place of just like, it's such a negative energy. Like, how do I make this so I'm not tied to my phone? So I'm attracting different people that, like, how do I use this to help weed out some of those people I don't want to talk to? And how can I optimize the conversation and like kind of steer it in a way that will get us to whatever result that I want? Like, do I want to date? Do I want to end this conversation? Do I want to see this person? And there are so many different things that we can do and we can get into. I don't want to get ahead of us here and start,
talking about all the things. I want to know so much what you do exactly as a dating coach, because we've never had a dating coach on the podcast before.
Really?
You're the very first one. So I have all the questions. So I know it's really exciting.
And you celebrated your 100th episode.
I did.
Not too long ago.
I did. 100 episodes and not one dating coach. Can you believe it? Like 2021 needs to be the year. I mean,
the year. I mean, you're going to get, is your wedding next year?
Yes. It's supposed to be July 2nd.
Okay. So the year of love. There you go.
I hope that it's going to be happening.
It will be.
It will be.
Putting it out there.
Yes, we are.
Whatever conjunction situation is happening.
Leave it to the stars. They'll take it.
Yeah. But to get to your question, so I usually work with new clients in one of two ways. So we can either do an in and out, one time, like efficient service, and I will fix your dating profile and get you dating on the right platform in a way that presents you in a way that like grabs the eyeballs of your ideal match, gives a bio that intrigues the type of person that you're wanting to attract, but then also gives enough about you and enough about what you like that that person can ask you on a date that you actually want to go on. So that's the first way. And then the second way is longer term one-on-one coaching. So I work with really incredible humans, busy people. Usually, let's see, my youngest client is 18 and my oldest is 64. But my sweet spot is millennials. Yes, right? Yeah. Everybody's dating. But yeah, longer term one-on-one coaching. And so this is more intuitive. This is more of a guide. This is more of a wingwoman, a hype man. I'm in your pocket.
I love that. I also love that your oldest client is 64. That's actually amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Like on the surface, it's, generational differences, but at the core, it's really kind of the same concept. It's the same principles. It's the same kind of, just confidence and conversation starters. It's the same type of thing we all go through.
Totally. It's so true. I mean, why would it be any different just because you're older? You know what I mean? It's like, it's funny because I think that younger people who are dating nowadays feel like they're the only ones who are in that situation, but it's like, you're not. Like, there's everybody else in every other age and every other phase of life. Like, it's crazy.
Especially with the pandemic now. It's just unreal. So many people are like, we didn't even get the hang of dating before the pandemic. Okay. So let's just put that out there. No one knew what they were doing. And now put a global pandemic into the mix and it is just a nightmare. And now people are lonely. People are wanting to meet people more than ever.
Yes.
And yeah, it really is coming to a pivot point.
So
that limit.
With that in mind then, like, how do you date in a pandemic?
Smartly. You do it with good intention. So before you even set foot in the modern dating scene, like, you need to meet yourself where you are. You need to get clear. So the first session I have, or the first part of a session I have with anybody, be it a long-term client or a one-time session, is level setting, understanding who you are. How do you want to feel with that partner? That is key. How do you want to feel? Not what do you want to see, not what are you looking for. It's how do you want to feel around that person? What are things that you want to do with that person? You know, what are you ideally looking for? And then from there, you can pick the app. You can decide how you want to date. You can do anything you want. You can navigate that scene, having that firm anchor of this is who I am, this is what I'm looking for. And anything outside of that is nice. It's probably a great person. It's just not my person.
Mm.
And that's key. And that's the step that most people don't do. You know, they focus on a half kind of put together profile or the wrong app or thinking that they have to be chained to this, or, you know, there's just so many things. Like, it's wrong turn after wrong turn if you don't go in from a grounded place, you know?
I know. And I really love that you said that. I love that you start at that like ground zero point with your clients, because like, if you think about it, a lot of the times you open up an app, you don't even really think about what it is that you're doing, regardless of what app it is. You know what I mean? If you think about it, you could just like intuitively open Instagram, for example, and you're like, like, okay, I'm gonna go look at stories, like I'm not even pay attention. But you open a dating app and you're like looking at real people, you're having conversations with real people. And you know, it depends, like your intentions could be just to find someone for a fun time, or your intentions could be just to, you know, talk for a little bit and then like leave. But if you're actually looking for someone, like a serious relationship, or someone that you actually want to date for a longer term, you know, I guess the biggest thing that I've noticed just from friends is like a lot of people that I know will put themselves out there and will constantly, you know, reach out or be, you know, communicating with different people or what have you. But then it's like the people on the other end are kind of like, oh, you know, like it's been nice, but like, no thanks. So how can you start to build your confidence and keep your confidence with facing rejection from people you don't even know?
That is
Loaded.
such a good question. No, that is an incredible question. And the thing is it seems loaded at first, but the answer is really simple. It's just knowing who you are. It's reminding yourself of that. It's knowing at your core, like, I am just, can I say fucking on this
Yes.
podcast?
Absolutely.
I'm fucking great. Okay,
Actually,
I just
no,
want to be respectful.
no.
I was like, oh, well, yeah,
Yeah, no, it's okay.
yeah,
I don't care.
you know, but
So
I am a wonderful human, and I am deserving. I am worthy. I am just like, I am putting myself out there, and I deserve this person. So if that person doesn't pick up whatever it is I'm about, like, why should I worry?
That's a really good point, because ultimately it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with the other person. But you know what? It's interesting too, because like this theme translates into so many different areas of life. If you're talking about like self-love, you know, a job that you want, a career you think you should have, or like a move you should make, money you should charge, you know, relationships with family, like your own self-worth dives into all of those different areas. And so, you know, you'll never feel like at peace, or you'll never feel solid in who you are. And so what I also noticed, and tell me if this is right or wrong and your thoughts on this, you know, you have all these voids within yourself, so you go and you look to like other people to sort of try to fill like those voids, and then you attract all these people who are just not people who you want to be talking to anyways. Is that
Yes.
thing?
Yep. Nope. You are so spot on for somebody never having been on a dating app. It is.
Thank you.
Take a moment.
I have some
Appreciate
experience with, you know, seeing my friends go through different things, but also I think it just comes down to like, you know, all the things that I coach in my own business too. So it's okay.
I love. But yeah, so you do feel okay. So something that people don't believe about me is I've never gotten a, can you send nude photo
No way.
solicitation? No, never. Like, there's a way that you can position yourself and you can totally nudie proof your profile. You can use your profile to weed out anybody that you're not interested in. So a lot of times when people are seeking something just to like fill that void, like you said, it's coming from that inauthentic place. It's coming from I'm not whole. I'm positioning myself as, less than whatever it is I'm seeking, or less than that person. Like, I'm looking for surface level. So there's something deeper that's going on that I'm either running from or just not wanting to address, or, whatever. So there are so many different things that are going on with other people. And especially when you only have this little sliver of information to go off of, being so strategic on the app that you pick and how you position yourself, like that can not only force you to be clear, but it can allow others to get clear. And it's like doing the entire dating world a service.
Truth.
You know,
Very, very true.
it's like global warming of the dating world. Like, we've thrown all this like crap into the air, and now we have to like navigate ourselves through it because we have no other option.
Exactly. Oh my God, it's so true. It's so true. So then how can someone, what are some tips for our listeners to like construct their profiles in a way that they're attracting who it is they really want to be attracting?
Such a good question. So it starts with the photos. So you look at somebody, and I'm just going to use Los Angeles as an example because I always make the joke that dating in Los Angeles on and off for 10 years, it's like dog years. So it's like basically 100 years of experience in here. But you are filtering through all sorts of people. You have six packs, you have models, you have actors, you have headshots, you have, whatever. But the real photos, the photos that tell a story, the photos that show who you actually are, not the one where you're posing, but the one that maybe you fell off whatever it is that you were posing on. As long as you have a few clear shots of who you are, you have a body image, you have, like, you can have a glamour shot, like that can be your main shot. Yeah, exactly. But as long as you're like laughing and being real, like that's what it's all about. And then from there, your bio, you have to give enough about you. Like, tell what you're interested in, give a little sense of humor, keep it positive, keep it light, keep it in a few sentences. And here's a pro tip for anybody listening: at the end, your last sentence, just the tiniest little like shove in there, state your intention. So at the end of my bio, it says, just looking for my guy. So in combination between real photos, in combination of a bio that's kind of fun, but like very intentional, and then stating your intention so clearly, that's the last thing you read. Anyone looking for a booty call, anyone looking for like kind of a shallow whatever, know to swipe the other way because that's not me.
That is so good and so key. Intention, that's what's up. I really, really like that because that's the differentiator between who are you going to attract and what do you want in your life. If you think about intention for everything that you do in life, everything in life has an intention. Of course you would put that in dating. Like, how can, that's what's up.
Yes. I love this because you are right there. You are right there. You know what I mean? When you yes. And I feel that in, everything that you do, and just the message and how you show up. It's this authentic wholeness. And that's what attracts people to you. That's what made me reach out to you, be like, wow, I really love what you're doing, the brand that you're building. And how can we, like, how can I be a part of that?
Can I come too?
Yes, but showing up and just putting yourself out there and having a belief in that you're worthy of whatever attention comes your way, like that's the whole key.
It's so true, because dating or life, but let's take dating specifically because we're talking about today. If you don't feel like you are worthy of finding the person or being in a relationship or going on a date or meeting somebody, like, you're never going to find it because you've already told yourself that you can't have it. So every time you tell yourself that you can't have something, you've already taken it away. You've already you've already sort of allowed it to not happen. You know what I mean?
Yes, I could not agree more. I could not agree more. And I always prep my clients before going into a first date to remind themselves, have a few non-negotiables, have a few things that you want to subtly figure out. But on that first date, the whole intention is not for them to like you. It's for you to see if you're into them, if there's a connection. And that's for you to decide. It's not for them to decide. It's not for you to pass that power away. You know, your opinion of the date matters more than anything.
So true.
Right? But
Yes.
it's something that most people don't like. You can't see the big red flag when it's right in front of your face.
Of
Like,
course.
it's just like, okay.
Exactly. And do you think that people go into dates or into conversations with people that, just thinking like it's not going to work out anyways?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Why?
So there are various reasons, but people just being curious, people, hoping deep down that this person will see the potential and be like, oh, you are so great, but it's not the way it works. Sometimes people are seeking adventure, change, or think they should, or maybe this person will surprise me. And so it's all just kind of dependent. There are so many different ways that this can go, but that's kind of what is so scary to everybody, is the idea that there isn't this like very standard cut and dry, whatever this saying is, path to this. Like, you have to be connected to who you are and kind of make your own way in a way that feels good to you. But that isn't necessarily something that's taught. That's not something that's very common practice. And, especially, just to reference life in other parts of the world, like career, or, just like parenthood,
Yes.
how you get married, you have a family, all of those things are it's a clear path. But dating now, especially, it's just very ambiguous.
It's really crazy. It's like that success graph. You know what I mean? When people say like success is linear, but like it's actually like dating is like loop-de-loops. It's crazy. It's crazy. And do you like the analogy?
No,
my
I
mind
love
goes.
that. I love that. I just saw one with
God.
Midwestern goodbyes, but I think you could do it with Canada too. It was like New York, it's like leaving goodbye, a straight line, and then it's like Midwest, and it's like beep, beep, beep. Yeah.
It's so true. I also come from, my family's half Italian. Even after every time we get off the phone, it's like 18 goodbyes on the phone. You're like, okay, bye. And the other person's like, okay, bye. And you're like, okay, bye. And it's like, okay, love you, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. And it's been like 15 minutes before you get off the phone. Everyone's just like, bye, bye. But anyway, yeah.
No, I relate.
I love that. Would you say that what we were just talking about is, like one of the tips that you would give our listeners to try and like take their dating experience back? And is there anything else that you would add to that?
Yes. So to take the control back, that is, getting clear on what you want. This is about you. And I say often that relationships take two people, but dating is a solo thing. You aren't looking, you are attracting, you are deciding what works. You maybe have no idea what that is, but you're figuring out what doesn't. It's all about you. And so the minute that you start to assume that the other person knows what they're doing, that assume that the other person will let you know if there's a connection, you pass your power away. And in doing that, that's when people feel helpless or floating or lost, or like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm never going to meet anyone. And so it's recognizing that at any point in time, that even as a woman, you can control the conversation, but you can do it in a way that's feminine, but yet fierce. It doesn't mean soft. It means that you have a sense of self and purpose and direction, and you can like subtly like get the combo. You can drop the hints. You can get it going in the way that you want it to go, but you can still be sexy and be like, oh yeah, that was totally your idea. Like, yeah, of course. Like, here are my standards. If you want to come meet me here, like, come on up, but I'm not going to go down there to your level. And just recognizing that, and just remind yourself and surround yourself with people who remind you of that if you can.
I love that so much. I love that you said that, because I really think that it's so important that people don't sacrifice who they are as people just to please somebody else. Like, okay, there are so many people in this world, you know what I mean? And like, yes, maybe this person could be very good looking, or this person could be really nice, or like whatever. But if they don't value you for who you are today, how could you ever expect them to value you in like 6 months from now when you're dating? Or, you know, when you have to make if you get married, you have to make a really tough decision or whatever. Like, don't you want someone who's going to think that you are an equal, or like, you know, be willing to like rise up to meet you, or, you know, to just want more, to like achieve more? I don't know. It's just what I think.
No, you are. It's not just what you think, it is the truth. Like, preach that, like climb up on something high and yell that from a mountaintop, because that is so true. And devaluing yourself, and you know, like, we are taught, conditioned to be humble.
Yeah.
We are conditioned to like kind of step out of the spotlight a little bit and be like, oh no, you know, it's part of the reason why it's so hard to take a compliment. And just kind of just shifting that perspective, like you said, and just recognizing that you are worthy of somebody who stands beside you, who sees you as an equal. But in order to do that, you need to see yourself as an equal. And that is the sexiest thing in any relationship, regardless of gender or sexual preference. Like, being with somebody that's like, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and you know what, leave it or take it, love it or hate it, like, I'm here.
Yes. I love that. Where's your mountain? Where's your mountain? Because we have to go yell it. Did you leave it in California?
I did
Sorry.
live in California. I'm in like a corner of, I think, my parents' bedroom, actually.
Oh,
Right?
I love that.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
It is sweet.
Yeah,
I love
my
that.
1-bedroom condo in Los Angeles is great for me, but you know, we have 8,000 square feet, and I'm in the corner of a closet, pretty much.
I love that so much. Oh my God. So how are you finding, like, okay, how are you finding dating like nowadays? Because depending on where you are in the world, I know we talked about pandemic like a little bit, but like people are pretty lonely. And so it's like, you know, this thing isn't really going away anytime soon. Like, some countries on lockdown, some aren't, some go back in it, some are out of it. But like, what are some date like ideas that people can do if you can't go to a restaurant? Or like, how can people connect in like a different way, and how can you make the date just as meaningful?
Those are such great questions.
Thanks.
And it kind of depends on your comfort level.
Mm.
So usually, as a general rule, I just, you know, I say first date is a virtual date. So that just takes the guesswork out of it. And you can lead, you know, whoever you're talking to. You can be like, hey, I'm really enjoying this. Like, here's my number. I'm free this time, this day. Let me know if that works for you. Would love to hop on a FaceTime and, you know, continue this further. And that way you can see if there's a connection. Like, this to me is the most underrated benefit of dating during this pandemic. It is the efficiency, the ability to meet somebody without even actually putting pants on. But rule number one is you don't actually address the pants thing. Like, it's just like, it's so played out. That ship has sailed, and none of us are wearing pants.
Let's be honest.
Like, let's just, yeah.
You have a cute shirt on, and that's pretty much it. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's call a spade a spade. But yeah, so virtual date, first date, that takes the guesswork. And then you can kind of gauge from there kind of what you want to do. But I have found that since, especially in LA, everything's kind of closed.
Yeah.
But like, walks are a great way because you're doing something together. You are side by side. So I do recommend starting that way because that kind of gets the nerves out. People are more open when you're not sitting across from each other. It's
Totally.
less formal. But then, you know, making sure to sit down and play a little bit, like laugh and joke. And yeah, it's such a serious time. But, you know, whether you're bringing a picnic or just something to kind of bring an air of lightness goes so far. And the last kind of tip, specific to the pandemic is the importance of presence and creating that space. So the fact that we are outside the majority of the time, that means there's a lot going on. You can't necessarily control the like just ambiance of the beach, let's say, Santa Monica reference. But so there's like kids crying, there's people selling fruit, there's like dudes
Oh my
playing
God, it's wild over there. I've
right?
been. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Even during a pandemic, like it's one of the few places you can go. So the importance, like me and you, we are in this, like create that bubble, lock into the person, not in a creepy way, not like, but like, but you know, pay attention to them. And every time that you divert your attention to like, oh, what's that? Or turning around, you pop the bubble. And then you have to pump that back up. And you're just inviting this outside energy into the space. And I've been on a few dates that this had happened with different people, and just noticing and being aware of when it does happen. It's like, wow, okay, that actually really ruins the mood. It could just be a short glance, but it has such a dramatic effect.
That's such a good point. And as you're saying this, I'm like, I would be the person to be like, hold on, look at the ice cream. Like, I would be that person. But you don't think about it in the moment of how the other person interprets that, especially somebody you don't know, right? Like that piece of accountability for your own self of like, how are you showing up? You know what I mean? Like, how are you acting in this situation? Very good.
And so that's like, it's part of me being an experiential dater. And that's the thing, like I enjoy it, but in order to coach, I have to figure it out so I can go there, and then I can teach people how to get there because I've been there.
Exactly.
And so this was one of the things that I would probably be that person too. And I probably was, until I started going out with some people that were extremes. And you were like, okay, buddy,
bring your face back this way.
Yeah, let's replace the man with a puppy, an actual puppy, so I could like pet it.
I mean, priorities.
I mean,
obviously petting the puppy, obviously. I mean, is there anything else? I actually love this so much. And it just makes me laugh because it's like, you know, I have a story in the back of my mind, but I'm not going to say it. Okay, you know what? I'll just say it. So there was one time, it has nothing to do with any of this, but when you said petting the puppy, I literally just thought about this. Like years ago, I used to live like downtown Toronto, and I live outside of the city now. And I was going for a run, and there was this guy who was walking his husky puppy. Cutest puppy, like little tiny ball of fur. And I stopped dead in my tracks, and I didn't even look at the guy. And I said, I just need to pet your dog. And he was like, okay. So I pet the dog for like probably 5 minutes. And then I was like, okay, bye. Like I didn't even speak to the guy. I just pet the dog. That was it.
That is,
I was like,
amazing.
I think back on it and I'm like, I'm like, oh, sorry about that. But I was in a relationship at the time, so I was like, I wasn't thinking like, I'm not gonna like, you know, I had no intentions of talking to the guy. I just wanted to pet the puppy. Like that was the priority.
Straight up. And you get a cute dog, it is like a rite of passage. Like you just need to humble yourself and know that you are then completely invisible. Like you exist because of the dog.
Exactly. You and the dog are one, and it's mostly the dog.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And just sit down.
Sit down. Oh my gosh, I love that. But you know what? I also really like what you were saying about that too, though. In terms of if you're out somewhere with somebody else and they start looking away and they start, you know, being all distracted and like all these different things, it's kind of like, okay, but like, is my time valuable? Like, is being with me valuable? Like, are you enjoying being here right now? Is there somewhere else you need to be? I don't know.
No, I totally get that. And it's like you and me, I feel this presence with you. And that's the way that I am. And it's kind of like the modern day phone. You know, it's just like, it's the pandemic phone. We don't have the phone. And so we're looking for something else. And it's just like, you know, don't do that. Because if you're really with that person, if you really want to show somebody that you're in it for them and stand out a little bit, then there you go. And just to kind of reiterate that point, I was on a date with, you know, there've only really been a few men, a handful of remarkable humans to this day that I've met with this very pointed presence. So every word that comes out of your mouth has significance. And so, especially when I like somebody or, and, you know, feeling it or whatever, I think out loud. And I also just babble just for fun. I amuse myself. And
Are we the
especially
same
in solo
person?
quarantine, it's gotten worse. So I'll just move. But so that this one man in general, he hung on to every word that I said. So I would
Wow.
half finish sentences or just like blah, blah, blah. He would be like, "Oh, what was that? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?" And I found myself in the back of my head being like, "Oh my God, like, don't worry, it's not important." But I didn't say that because I was like, wow, you know what? You want to be with somebody that does pay attention and listens to what is coming out of your mouth. And it's not that it's not important, it is so important. But it's just interesting how we fill that space with whatever. Like, we can't just sit with silence. You know what I mean? And just
So true.
having somebody bring that out of you is so memorable and it leaves such an impression. So
It
that's
really does, because you still remember it today and like how that made you feel.
yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And I feel like although it shouldn't be, I feel like it's a little bit rare. You know what I mean? To have someone,
So rare.
you
So
know,
rare.
it's
Yes.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. This guy was a very practiced meditator. And a few
Oh.
before were, you know, Forbes list or whatever. So very remarkable humans that just can hold space and attention for you to do whatever you please with it. And yeah.
He sounds kind of lovely.
Yeah, this one was. It just wasn't my person.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
All of them just weren't my
Your
person,
person.
but they were wonderful people.
I love that. I love that. And so you approach it with a completely different perspective. And
Yeah.
so with that thought in mind, like how can our listeners start to shift their perspective around the idea of being ghosted?
That just had to think about that because, again, the answer's simple, right? Everything in dating can be just so simplified. We overcomplicate it. So,
Totally.
your perspective around being ghosted, it's an ego thing, but all you have to realize is that you can't screw it up with your person. Your person will be there no matter what. And the fact that that person disappeared, it has nothing to do with you. And I know that you can read that, you can hear that on podcast 10 Ways to Sunday. And yeah, okay, it has nothing to do with you, but on a deeper level, just knowing your worth and what you're looking for and how you want to feel, that person did you a favor,
Mm-hmm. Truth.
right?
Very true.
And it's just, you know, if you're very hurt by it, that is something that I encourage you and invite you to do a little bit of soul searching, kind of turn within a little bit and lean into that uncomfortableness, because whatever is coming up in you, like, that is a signal of something in you that maybe needs your attention before you are in a position where you're feeling maybe a little bit more yourself, a little bit more in line with what you're looking for. And that is the space where you're going to attract that person that's going to show up, you know?
That's so good. And it's so true. So I love that you shed light on that, because I feel like a lot of the times, you know, I say we, but I have, I have
The royal we.
the
Yeah.
royal we.
Right,
I feel
Queen.
like everybody else who is dating, but the royal we,
Yes.
you know, you let that impact your life so much and your worth so much, and like who you are as a person, what you deserve. And it's like, honestly, bye. You know what I mean? Like, bye. Like, I don't have anything else to say.
Honestly, bye.
Honestly, bye.
Yes.
That's your response, everybody. Honestly, bye.
Honestly, bye. Yeah, seriously. And if that's what you have to do, it's just getting caught up, like, ghosting is fine. Like, I have to admit, the other day, even, I had gone on a few dates with somebody, but something came up in me that I could not express via voice note. I could not, it's like we are all in this together. We're all healing together. We're all realizing things together. We're all just like in this process, and being able to take accountability, even if not in that moment, but later down the line, and say, hey, that was absolutely worthy of a voice note, but it will happen inevitably. But holding yourself into that, like, that very small container of I shall not ghost ever, and ghosting is the word. It's like, nah, like come at it from a different sense of compassion. You don't know what that other person is going through, but all you can control is how you respond to it and also how you move forward from it. And, if you are in a place, if anyone out there has ghosted somebody in the recent past or even like any time, just shoot him a voice note right now and say, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I apologize. Like, it wasn't you. This is kind of what was happening. You don't even have to get into it, and say, yeah, hope you're doing well. That's it.
That's it. It's just human connection at the end of the day. It's just about being a kind
Yes.
person. Like, you don't have to be a complete asshole. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a kind person. You can have your boundaries and you stay firm in what you believe in and who you are without, I don't know.
Yes. No, that's absolutely. Absolutely. So just go at it from an area of like compassion and kindness, and see that screen as another human. It's not just like a profile. Even if they're just not showing up in a way that you particularly care for or that feels good. Like, there have been a few humans that still to this day, I am like, oof, the right occasion, this one man is going to be made a case study. But normally it's like, nothing but love in this club. But you will come across those that are just so unjustly not okay, that it is okay though to be like pissed and like, what? But move on. They're not your person. And yeah, kind of thank them, because this is going to be great content later on, buddy.
You're like, I will take that. Thank you.
I will. Yeah. I was like, I'm not even going to respond to this. It didn't worthy a response.
No. And that's fair.
It's gonna,
Jess,
be
you tell
worthy
him,
of an
Jess, you tell him.
episode.
Yeah, you tell him, Jess. You tell him. Now we are talking about him.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
Yeah, fly above the swamp.
I love that. I love that. We could be taking that, put that back in my back pocket.
It's my favorite. Yeah, it could be a swamp.
So good. I love it. Jess, this is my last question for you. Can you believe how quickly time flies? It blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
It flew.
It flew. It's like one of the funnest hours of my week.
I love that. Mine too.
So nice. So nice. So I'm curious. This is a question that I ask all my guests when they come on the show. What would you say in terms of like, how could someone create a little bit more happiness in their day, every day, starting today?
I love that. And I am such a huge fan of 3 things. We have meditation, gratitude, and your village. Ooh. So meditation, you connect to something that's bigger than you. You know, like that's where I clear my head. I highly recommend to anybody listening to, even for 5 minutes, just sit. And even if you're thinking about anything and everything under the sun, just take those 5 minutes and check in with yourself. Gratitude. You appreciate everything that you have, the things around you. And that is one of the key things that has kept me sane throughout this entire pandemic, is coming back to what is it that I'm thankful for? Who is it that who am I thankful for? And those things will keep you focused on what is important. And then your village, surround yourself with people that lift you up, that remind you of who you are, that, fill your cup, that surround you with love. And sometimes when things are really, really bad, it's so much easier to focus outside of yourself and then use that to recalibrate within. And so when you have that strong village in place, it's kind of an effortless thing.
I love that. That's beautiful. Those are three very, very, very beautiful things that you shared. So thank you so much for sharing those.
Thank you.
Where can our listeners find you?
So always on the gram.
Always.
At Greater Dater, greaterdater.com website. And yeah, Jess at greaterdater.com is my email. So I love, love, love connecting. Obviously, that's kind of what I do. So yeah, I encourage and invite anyone to reach out. And I'm always here with one-off dating questions. And we're in this together, y'all.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Jess, thank you so much for your beautiful time, beautiful words of wisdom, and everything that you've shared with our listeners today.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. And yeah.
So much fun. It was so much fun. And thank you so much. It really was. I'm like, yes.
I was kind of like, yeah.
I know. I'm like, do we have to sign off? Like, yes, we shall just keep going. I love it. Jokes. Did you say I have jokes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Dang. Okay. All right. We're going to have to put those in the show notes. No, I'm just kidding. I love it so much. Oh, my goodness. But thank you again so much. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this week's episode on the podcast. Please go back to the beginning. Share this with all of your friends who are currently dating online or any type of dating. They need to hear this message because this is what's up. This is how you will navigate the dating world. So enjoy implementing everything that Jess shared with us today. Don't forget to share the episode with someone who you think needs to hear it, and wishing you a beautiful week. Remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it. Well, it looks like we have made it to the end of this episode. I'm so proud of you for tuning into this episode, and I'm so grateful that you joined me in this incredible conversation. I would be so grateful if you took a quick second to rate and review the podcast and let me know what you loved the most. I also love hearing from you, and I would love to know your thoughts on this episode. So feel free to tag me online or let me know that you're listening. I'm so excited to connect with you. Wishing you a beautiful day ahead, and remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.